This is the first game I've ever covered that I had not played up until starting the project. Every other game I've played previously, from Dark Souls to Terraria, even Devil May Cry 5, I had had a full playthrough of each of those games before starting. When starting to look into making this video, I wanted something different. That started with Lies of P, a new Souls-like based around the fairy tale of Pinocchio with a Bloodborne-esque style, but that's a story for another day. Today we're covering...
Wanna know the name? Devil May Cry.
Ooh, baby, I got some good things to say. Before we start, I want to cover something that I said in the Devil May Cry 5 video.
Okay, so, I think this story is a little dumb at some points. Virgil cuts off Nero's arm so that he can split his demon and human half, his demon half becoming Urizen and his human half being V. However, at the climax of the game, V absorbs Urizen and becomes Virgil again. And just to add that little dumb flag on the mountain of stupid, Virgil teams up with his arch-rival and sibling, Dante, to save mankind. However, he's never shown to care about mankind, but this is coming from somebody who hasn't played the other games and is going based off all the story he knows, so maybe I missed something. I don't know.
I was in fact very wrong. I'm not going to get into why the story of Devil May Cry 5 happens, but do acknowledge that I was wrong. But getting into the good stuff is starting us off with the battle themes. So you know what that means. Go Gadget music montage. The second good thing is the voice acting. Now you may be asking yourself, voice acting? But who cares about that? What's next? You gonna start talking about every minute detail of each weapon? Shut your mouth! You listen to this speech from Arkham and you tell me that it isn't worth talking about.
To the demonic world will open destruction! Carnage and despair! Let your instincts drive you. Entrap this world in fear, as its very name timidly gloom strikes terror into the heart of mankind. Then I will become the ultimate ruler of this wasteland, engulfed with pandemonium.
From the cocky and borderline goofy lines that come out of Dante,
Wow, I've never seen a talking mud before. You know, in a dog show, you definitely take first place.
to the lines that turned into memes that come from Virgil,
Why isn't this working? Is there something missing?
this is coming out of an era of gaming dominated by lines like this.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
And this.
You
probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
So to have this come out of this game is impressive for the time. I had only played Devil May Cry 5 before coming to this game, so it was a little jarring. The first bad-ish thing is the camera. The camera is semi-locked, which means that the camera has set locations and paths that it'll follow throughout the game. You can move the camera on the designated paths, but you can't move it freely. This can make it very difficult to fight some enemies that shoot across the screen at Mach Jesus. The next bad thing is limiting weapon slots. Only having 2 is just not enough. This isn't bad per se, it just forces you to make a decision. I think this could have been solved by giving us 2 special weapon slots on top of Ebony and Ivory and Rebellion. This isn't necessarily bad, it's just I needed a second topic for the bad section. This game is funky.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
The graphics are gonna start us off here. This game either looks awful or beautiful. The first Devil May Cry game started as a Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4 to be specific, and they kept the same engine all the way up to Devil May Cry 3. So when you put these two next to each other, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. This game really embraces that style, and I personally love it. I was even blown away when first seeing the game, but I've heard people say it looks awful. Second goes to the enemies. There aren't a whole lot of them, and some of them are really annoying, such as, in no particular order, the Bloodbats, the Spiders, the Summoners, and Virgil. That's a pretty small list, but on a list that's only slightly larger than that, it is kind of a problem. The last thing is the Jester.
Yoo-hoo! There's no need to use violence, Devil Boy.
His character is just a bit too much for me. He shows up, says some dumb stuff to Dante, and then leaves. He then offers you an optional fight. In lore, he's an alter ego to Arkham meant to lead Dante through the tower and complete Arkham's plans. But in game, he's just a nuisance that shows up from time to time to say some stupid stuff. This is a game I have put off playing for years. This video was an excuse to play through it in its entirety. Some things impressed me, some things disappointed me, but in the end, I came out pleased. For my rating, I'd suggest you at least give it a try.